Good day, folks. It's Mark here at the Scyfli channel. Today we have a special video for you. We're going to be talking about a very interesting subject, cannabinoids. Now, cannabinoids are the main ingredients in hemp and cannabis, our favorite plants. And it might behoove you to know a little bit about the different cannabinoids as you go on here. So we are going to start with what's known as Delta-9, move on to CBD, and then finish off with Delta-8. The reason we're starting with Delta-9 is because it's the most prevalent THC molecule. It's the one everybody's familiar with. And you know, if you've not tried any of these compounds before, there's probably a chance you've tried Delta-9 at some point in your life. So what are the effects of Delta-9? Delta-9 THC. The main ones are going to be very familiar to know: giddiness, euphoria. It can produce some hunger. It also has a couple negative side effects. You got anxiety. You have loss of motor control. You might develop some paranoia. Those are all negative effects of Delta-9, but they don't always have to be that way, as we'll discover. So now that we've kind of talked about Delta-9, that gives us a good baseline to talk about CBD, right? CBD is the main cannabinoid in hemp, okay? It's also not psychoactive, so you can smoke a ton of CBD. It's not going to affect you psychoactively like THC does. CBD is actually mostly an anti-inflammatory compound, okay? So it helps reduce swelling and inflammation in the body. The CBD industry has made all kinds of crazy claims about what CBD can do. And the point we're at with that research doesn't show much. It shows it can be an anti-inflammatory, and that's about it. So all these other claims you hear and see about CBD, take them with a grain of salt, because we have not reached the point where we can definitively answer what CBD does for you. So now we're going to move on to our last cannabis compound. That is known as, or not cannabis compound, but cannabinoid, which is Delta-8. Now, Delta-8 is the most prevalent THC molecule in hemp. And because it's from hemp, it's a THC product that most people can sell. As of 2018, the United States passed the Farm Bill legalizing hemp in all of its forms across the country. Now, since then, a couple states have moved to ban Delta-8, but it's still available in most states, right? Now, it's a loophole, Delta-8. Because it's from hemp, we can all buy it. Loophole, right? But they're not the same. Delta-9, Delta-8, they're similar, but not the same. Delta-8 is a lot lighter, right? It's about 50 to 75% as strong, and the best part about it is it's missing those components that give you anxiety, paranoia, and loss of motor control with Delta-9. Delta-8 won't do any of that, which is why a ton of people are kind of using it now. The last part about Delta-8 I want to talk about is how it's produced, because it's different than other THC products. Delta-8 is not naturally occurring enough and in an amount large enough in the plant to be used as such. It has to be artificially produced and then added back in. So with Delta-8, they take the hemp plant, they isolate the Delta-8 molecule, and through a process called isomerization, they increase the amount of Delta-8 available. They then take that increased amount of Delta-8 and add it back into products. So just like what we have here, you can add it back into flour, you can add it into gummies, you can put it in a tincture. The one thing about Delta-8 in flour is they take the Delta-8 and they spray it or treat hemp, right? So what this is here is CBD hemp that's been sprayed with Delta-8. Now, 95% of the time, that is how you're going to see Delta-8 in the flower form. There are some companies that are trying to make it in amounts that are large enough and naturally occurring, but for the most part, this is how you would get your Delta-8 flower. So just because Delta-8 is artificially produced does not mean it's dangerous. Okay, it's fine as long as your product is created in a clean environment using safe industry standards. You should be fine. There are a lot of companies out there that aren't playing by the rules, though, so you just be careful. Right, be careful where you get your products from in general. You don't want somebody making this stuff in their garage and then you ingesting it, so just be careful. Now, there are some other things we need to discuss later down the road. Other cannabinoids, a compound called terpenes, which is responsible for the nuances in our high as well as the taste and smell of cannabis. Very interesting compound. But we're going to get to all that later. So I want to thank you so much for joining me today for our little review of these 3 cannabinoids. There's much more on tap, and we'll see you next time. Thank you very much, guys. Peace out.